Alrighty then, let's get started. Alright guys, welcome to tonight's special leadership webinar for Project Take Control. And my name is Marko Pavasovic, one-star white diamond in the company. Been doing this business for just under 4 years now. So I'm really, really excited to be on this webinar right now because, I know that you guys have big things happening right now. I definitely know that Justine and Dan have really been going out there, putting in the hard yards, putting in the work. And, it's a really, really exciting phase in our business right now. We've, I guess, 10 weeks away till summer. Everyone's looking to get healthier right now. Everyone's looking, to start shaping up because they want to look good on the beach. And, as you guys know, our special new product range that we're going to be releasing in December. So everything right now is coming to the pinpoint perfect time. And if you're listening to this webinar right now, I'm really, really excited for your future because if you play your cards right in the next 3 months, guys, a life you're living today will be a past. The life that you're living today will be something, that you think back and go, wow, I can't believe that was my life. And, is it going to happen for everybody? Well, I hope so. But what I can promise you though is the system is there to make it happen. The products are there to make it happen. The guidance and the support is there to make it happen. It's just going to be up to you to decide to go out there and make it happen. So I wanted to really touch base on a special topic, a topic that I'm very, very passionate about because I'm a big believer of, this topic really makes or breaks you in this business. But to be honest, probably doesn't even make or break you in this business. It also will probably determine the type of life you'll end up living. And what I mean by that is we have two different ways of thinking in life. We have the logical way of thinking, and then we have the emotional way of thinking. Now, a lot of people sort of look at that and go, well, that doesn't make sense. What do you mean emotional way and logical way? Well, it's just been proven. It's just been proven out there. Let's look at an emotional decision, emotional shopping. It was an emotional buy. Generally, the emotional decisions are decisions that might feel right at that second, but a week or two later, you realize and go, shit, okay, that wasn't the best idea. That wasn't the best decision. So, and emotional decisions is where unfortunately 95% of the world are. You know how we have the cash flow quadrant? 95% of the world chasing 5% of the wealth. And on the right side, 5% of the world splitting the 95% of the wealth. Now, this is what really separates, a lot of people out there. So, and Warren Buffett, the man himself, the third richest man in the world, says that, if you cannot manage your emotions, you cannot manage business, you cannot manage money. So something that I really, really want to touch base on tonight's topic is really help you understand the difference in emotional thinking and the difference between logical thinking. Now, we need to really understand though is it's okay if you're an emotional thinker. I used to be an emotional thinker, but I also understood, but that's exactly why my life was where it was at the age of 25, working 2 jobs, making just enough to survive. I was always thinking emotionally. I was always acting on emotion, but that's why my life really wasn't getting anywhere. Then, slowly through this business, I really started doing a lot of self-education. I started really not just studying network marketing leaders, not just studying network marketing companies, but actually studying business people. And every single business person all have the same rules, the same theories, the same patterns to success. And all of the patterns start on your way of thinking. Making sure that you're thinking logically in every aspect in your business. Okay, so what I really want to try is help you bring a lot more self-awareness of situations so you're a little bit more in control of the way you think and the way you handle and the way you react to these situations. Now, guys, this isn't only about business, as I mentioned earlier. This is your life. This is the way you act, whether you act emotionally on, situations, in family, the way you act emotionally on relationships, the way you act emotionally on friendships, the way you act emotionally at your work will also determine the type of life that you're living. So, don't think that this webinar is purely a business webinar. It's also a webinar to actually help you live a happier life, because there's so many people out there that, out of nowhere, they got all this big money. And I can promise you one thing, money isn't everything if you haven't mastered the way you think, if you haven't mastered, logical thinking, because if you're only thinking emotionally, you're never going to be happy. You're always going to want to be wanting more. You're always going to be making more and more excuses. You're never going to be happy as an emotional thinker. So let's get straight into this topic. So, as the good old saying goes, how you react in circumstances will define how big of an organization you will have. Okay, so I want to just touch base very quickly on this, thinking emotionally in this business, okay? So thinking emotionally gets you negative. It deflates your tires. It brings excuses and it creates even more problems. Now, generally we don't see that because at that time it felt like the right decision. But what did you do to make it feel like the right decision? You brought in an extra excuse. So what you've actually done is you've created another problem that you don't see right now to disguise the problem that you just had to handle. So now you don't only have one problem, now you've got two problems. And then what people do is they'll then create another excuse to block themselves from the current problem they've created. And the next thing you know, they've got three problems. Now, this is why most people aren't happy, because they keep on bringing up excuses to make themselves feel good for the next day or two or three, but eventually they don't realize that they've just created another problem. And that's, why they say you just cannot think emotionally. What does logical thinking do? Logical thinking just helps you think of solutions. It fixes problems and it continues growing. Now, this can be anything in life, because any single problem that you have right now, guys, there actually is a solution for. The only question is going to be how you think about that problem. Because if you think about that problem in an emotional manner, I can promise you, you will not come up with the right solution. You will come up with the easier solution, which is an excuse. They'll make you feel good in that minute or a day or two, but that's just only covering another problem. Whereas if you start thinking logically and think of the solutions, think of what needs to be done, think of the problem, how can we fix this problem, overcome that problem, and you continue growing. Now, the thing about business is, and I'm learning this over doing it for such a long time now, it's so simple if you can train your mind to keep it simple. The more logical you treat this business, the more logical you treat your life, the simpler your life, the simpler your business will be. The more emotional you treat this business, the more emotional you treat your life, the more confused you're going to be. You're going to keep running and running away. Then you're going to be 70 and go, what the hell did I do with my life? It's because you were acting too much based on emotional decisions and not logical decisions. So, how you react to problems really determines and shows how strong of a person you are. Now, this might sound a little bit harsh, but it's 110% the truth. Because you can actually judge the size of a person by the size of the things that get them down. If you get affected by small problems, that's okay. But it also means you're a small person. Now, I remember the first time I heard this quote, I was like, whoa, I always let small problems get in the way. But I'm a big person. And as my mentor, Dan Hamilton, said to me, mate, it's not about what you say you are. It's about how you react in the scenario. That's what determines who you are. Where so many people go out there and stride their stuff and, yeah, I'm this, yeah, I'm that, I'm strong, I'm this, I'm unstoppable. But just by saying it, it's a great start. But for you to become it, you got to start doing it. You know? Now, do I still sometimes let small problems get in the way? Of course I do. I'm human. I've got, 25 years of negative programming. It's always going to sneak back into my head. But you just got to be self-aware of the decisions you're about to make. You got to be self-aware of how you're going to react to a situation. You got to be self-aware whether you're reacting logically or whether you're reacting emotionally. Now let's think about some of your actions over the last week and ask yourself, how big of a person have I been? I'm going to let you guys think about that for about 10, 15 seconds. So how did you handle a problem in your business? What did you do? Did you make a big deal out of nothing? Or did you think about solutions and how you can get better? Did you end up getting down and getting all depressed and then having, oh my God, poor me session? Or did you just put your head down and get to work and think of a solution? Now, these simple steps will also determine what kind of life you're going to be living in the next 5 to 10 years. So many people come into this business and all they think about is where they're going, where they're going, where they're going. And that's great. But you also got to think about sometimes where you are and what your actions are. Because your actions today will determine where you're going to be in the next month. Those actions over the next month will determine where you're going to be in the next 6 months. And so on and so on and so on. So guys, just be very self-aware of your actions. And don't let small things get in the way because you're a bigger person than that. Sometimes it's a good way to really understand where you are at your point of the life. If you're going right now going, man, well, I actually don't let small problems get in the way. I actually haven't let anything get in the way this week. That's awesome. You're growing, you're developing. That's super cool. But if you're sitting there going right now, well, actually, I'll let this problem get in the way. I'll let this. I acted really emotionally. I made a big problem out of this. That's awesome too because now you're self-aware of it. Maybe you weren't self-aware of it last week. And now that you're self-aware of it, just be very conscious about the next decision you make when you get into that situation again. So, we got to work on becoming a lot more aware of our thinking. Really, that's the key. So, what we have is that we have, our mental state. Now, our mental state really decides how our thinking starts. It really decides on whether we're going to think emotionally or whether we're thinking logically, okay? Now, that determines the story that you sell yourself. Because if you sell yourself, if your mind state is in an emotional state, I can promise you're going to sell yourself the wrong story. You're going to sell yourself an excuse to make yourself feel good about it. But if your mind state or mental state is in a logical state, you're going to sell yourself the right story. Now, depending on the story you sell yourself will also determine the actions that you take. Now, why do most people not grow in this business? Because they keep selling themselves stories and they don't take any action. But it's in the action part where success happens. But for you to take the right action, you need to start being in the right mental state. So you've got to start in a logical mental state. Understanding what's happening, thinking logically. Selling yourself that right story for you to go out there and think and take action. So being in an emotional state creates a negative story. and that equals no action. Being in a logical state creates a positive story. And it means you go out there and you take massive action. So once again, just think back at a few things that might have happened in your business or even in your life in general over the last, 3 or 4 weeks. And ask yourself that when I made that decision, what was my mental state at? That's why I sold myself that story. That's why I did that. Can you guys see that it is actually quite simple if we can master it? Now, this is something we just got to be very, very, very aware of. Because just like anything, it's not going to happen overnight. This is something we've got to teach our brain to think this way, because the reason most of us are on this webinar right now, I'm going to take it, is because you want to create a better life. I'm going to take it because you don't want to work a job for the rest of your life. Now, you're programming right now, and the reason you're in the situation you're in right now is because you've been programmed to think constantly in emotional state. Now, if you want to change your vision of your future, if you want to change the course of your future, you got to start thinking more logically and being a lot more self-aware every single day of what your thinking is. So I want to take you guys through a few examples of, I guess, some of the excuses that I keep on hearing, and just really I want to then break it down into the states people are in when they're making these excuses. So, I just don't have time lately. Now let's think about that. I just don't have time lately. Would we say that's logical thinking, or would we say that's emotional thinking? It's emotional thinking. Okay? Why? Well, it's funny that all of a sudden you stopped having time when your business maybe had a little bit of a dip. I've never in 4 years had anyone that their business was absolutely booming call me up and go, "Hey Marco, man, I know my business is booming right now, and I've got so much happening, but I just don't have time right now." Never heard it happen. Every single time I have the "I don't have time" excuse come up is when someone's business has had a little bit of a dip, when someone's business has had a little bit of a fall, because they start thinking emotionally and they start selling themselves a story of they don't have time to feel good about themselves. And then that's why they don't take any action and they start believing into their own excuse. But if you think about it logically, of course you have time. You really don't need much time to do this business. 10, 15 hours a week. The average person, after working a full-time job, spending 15 hours a week with family, done the whole breakdown, the average person still has 34 hours. And that's after everything: sleeping, eating, family time, bathing, driving, everything. The average person still has 34 hours. So the "I don't have time" is just nothing but an excuse that you've sold yourself in an emotional state. Rather than thinking logically and selling yourself that right story to get over this and start taking the actions that you need to take. I've run out of people to talk to. Once again, that's an emotional state. The average person has at least 500 to 2,000 people on Facebook alone. Now, everyone knows that it takes probably about 4 to 7 no's to get a yes. Now, I can promise you one thing: you haven't had 1,000 people say no to you 7 times. So you haven't ran out of people to talk to. You're just not feeling good about having, your business not growing as quickly as you wanted it to grow. So you start thinking emotionally to find an excuse as to why, you should not take action. So you start going, "I've run out of people to talk to. That's why I can't take action. That's why I do nothing." Rather than thinking about it logically, okay, well, I've still got a lot of people to talk to. I can actually go around and talk to a few people at my gym. I can actually, ask a few people for referrals. Or I can go out there and just randomly meet with people. I'll go to the bar and I'll have some fun and I'll meet some new people. There is always ways to go out there and meet people. But that's the difference between an emotional thinker and a logical thinker. I don't like rejection. I don't want to talk to anyone because I'm scared of rejection. See, that's emotional thinking. And that's why most people don't do it. But logically, you have been rejected your entire life in anything you've tried. When you started trying to find a partner, whether it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend, I can guarantee you when you were in those nightclubs trying to pick someone up, trying to get a number, you probably got a few rejections. When you played a sport, maybe there was a few times that someone didn't want you on their team. So rejection is a part of life. We've all been rejected before. But what we have is we have this false, we're looking for a reason not to take action. So we sell ourselves this emotional story to stop us from taking action. Rather than looking at it and going, okay, well, logically, like anything in life, I'm going to have some yeses and I'm going to have a hell lot of a no's. Just like any business out there. If you're in business right now, I can guarantee you've had a lot of people that probably didn't want your services. If you work for a job right now, if you work for someone right now, I can guarantee that person has also had a lot of people who didn't want their services. But they understand that's the game of business. That's the game of life. They understand that people aren't saying no to them. They're just saying no because they don't think it's for them right that minute. Whether it's the products, whether it's a business. They're not saying, no, I don't like you. They're saying, no, I don't want to get healthy right now. They're saying, no, I'm actually happy with my situation. I don't need an extra income right now. So that's fine. You move on. Not everyone's going to want what you have. When people get down and get, oh, but someone dropped off, I'm losing belief. Once again, that's you being in an emotional state, selling yourself that story. Because logically, of course someone dropped off. People are always going to drop off. So many people come in this business looking for a quick way to make some money, thinking it's going to be easier. I'm sure everyone here has worked a job at one point of their life. When one of the staff members quit, did you see the boss go in the toilet and start crying after that staff member? No. He just done what he had to do. He thought about it logically and he found someone to replace that staff member. But we tend to think emotionally when it comes to things like this. And then obviously my business has had a dip. Emotionally, so many people get down when their business has had a dip. They start feeding themselves all these crazy stories. And generally, when your business has a dip, is when all these other excuses actually come across. Because you start trying to find reasons as to why you don't need to take action to make yourself feel good because your business has had a little bit of a dip. But if you think about it logically, every business on this planet has had dips. Every business in the world has ups and has downs. For example, I think it was about 5 years into when Apple released and got started. Within 5 years, Apple had 34% of the world population using Apples. Within the next 5 years, they dropped down to 3.5%. So they've gone from 34% of the world using Apples to 3.4% of the world using Apples. Did you see Apple close the doors? I don't really see any biographies of Apple getting all negative and deciding they don't have time, or that they don't like that 27% of people stopped using their phones, or because of a few staff members quit, they're going to close the doors. They knew they had some problems. They fixed their problems, and I think you all know where Apple is today. So you got to look and understand this, guys, and think out of it logically. You having a dip in your business is normal. Every business in the world has a dip. And the dips are going to keep on going. They're going to keep on coming. I can promise you that much. But that's where you just need to think logically. Understand it's a part of the game. Understand that in business you have a dip no matter what. Whether you like it or not, you are going to have dips. You just got to think of the solutions, make it happen, make the changes, take action, and you'll see your business go again, okay? Not be in an emotional state and make a million excuses, because those million excuses might feel right at that time, but you are going to hate yourself in 5 to 10 years when you see what you've missed out on because of your bullshit excuses. So understand that emotional state equals excuses, and it will keep you broke. It will keep you surviving. It will keep you struggling. Logical state equals no excuses, and it creates financial freedom. So something to definitely think about. Look at this slide and just be aware of your decisions. Beware of your mental state, because that's where everything starts. Everything starts in your mental state. That's just what it comes down to. So guys, understand that having a healthy mind is just as important as a healthy body. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't exercise. I'm not saying don't go to the gym and, get muscles and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying any of that stuff. But what I'm saying is you need a healthy mind to be happy. Because just because you have a big biceps, big abs, big chest, or whatever, if you're a female, you're ripped and shredded and you got a big, nice bum, that's not going to make you happy. If you've got an unhealthy mindset, you are never going to be happy. So as much as you're going out there and really trying to get healthier, with your body, go out there and try to become healthier in your mind. Start really working on thinking a lot more logically. Start really working on creating a better mindset, because that will really determine how happy you will be. It will actually really determine how healthy you will be, because it's such a psychological thing. We know how much stress, how much depression, how much being a victim in a victim mindset actually does harm to your body. So there's no point of going to the gym and getting all fit, skinny and all of that, when you're actually killing what's inside because of your terrible mindset. So go out there, work on the outside of your body, but think about your mindset and start working on creating that healthy mindset. And understand, guys, that life is a big game, okay? But so many people are getting their asses whooped, because emotional thinking gets your ass whooped. So many people sit there and play Candy Crush over and over and over and over again. Pay money to play Candy Crush. They lose, they play again. They lose, they play again. They lose, they play again. So many people are out there playing sports that are going to get them nowhere. And they'll lose games, but they'll go back and do it for 20 years. Whereas in this game, you have the chance to create financial freedom, but you gotta stop getting your ass whooped. You gotta start thinking logically, start winning, and start dominating life in every single aspect, not just wealth, in happiness. Start dominating life, start winning, start thinking logically. Just like how you die on Candy Crush, you're going to have a dip in the business. Just like you have a problem at your job and you probably don't want to go there tomorrow, but you're still going to grow, you're going to go. That's logical thinking. Why? Because you need to get paid. Because if you really, most of you probably wouldn't want to go to work tomorrow because you don't want to be there. But logically, you know you have to go there to get paid. This is how important logical thinking is in this business. Stop getting your asses whooped in life. Make the most of your life. You have the chance to become that 5%. You have the chance to be some of the pioneers of an incredible opportunity. You just got to take action. You got to start thinking logically. You got to start having a clearer mind of what you need to do. You need to start going out and start whooping some ass. Because guys, it doesn't matter how tall, short, big, smart, dumb, popular, funny, confident you are. How strong is your mindset? Because that's all that matters. That's what separates the 5% of the world to the 95% of the world. Because as you can see in this quote, if size really mattered, the elephant would be the king of the jungle. Whereas so many people are making all these emotional excuses as to why they can't do something. But it does not matter who you are, how big you are, how smart you are, how funny you are, or how confident you are. Because you can be the most confident person in Australia, but if you've got a shitty mindset, you're not going to get anywhere. You can be the smartest guy in the world, but if you've got a shitty mindset, you're going to work a job your entire life. That's just what it comes down to. So that's why your strong mindset is such a valuable part to your life, because that's what's going to get you to the 5%, because that's what the 5% have. Okay? As you probably know, some of your bosses, as you probably can see, some of the most successful people out there, they aren't the smartest. They're not the best looking. They're not the funniest. But they had strong mindsets. And those strong mindsets is what separated them to the 95%. But too many people base who they are on what other people think they are. Look in the mirror. Who do you see? If you looked at your phone right now and you looked at that black screen, or if you're looking at a mirror right now, who do you see? What do you see in that person? What would you tell that person right now? Who could they be? That's all that matters. Not the opinions of other people. A lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of a sheep. So many of you right now are basing who you can become, who you can be in the future, based on what other people think of you, and based on what you think other people think of you. You cannot do that if you want to move into the 5%. Look at yourself in the mirror. Decide tonight the person you want to become. Decide tonight the person you are. And do not let anybody tell you any differently. You can be whoever you want to be. And that's all that matters, not what anyone else thinks of you. Not what other people think of who you are. And that's the problem in this world today. So many people are always basing who they are based on what other people thought of them. Everyone told Richard Branson he's dyslexic. Everyone told him he can't read and write, he's never going to be successful. But he didn't go into business going, oh, well, no one believes in me, I'm just going to work a job. Oh, people told me I can't do anything because I'm dyslexic, I'm not going to get into business. He did not see that. He did not hear what the sheep was saying. He looked at himself in the mirror and he knew exactly who he could become. And that's why today he is the man he is. Guys, it's time that you become your own lion. You become that person you've always wanted to be. Now, there's a catch to this, okay? Because realistically, everybody wants to be a lion. I don't care. I can go out there right now and 99% of people want financial freedom. 99% of people. They don't want to have to work. They want to be able to travel when they want to travel. They want to have financial independence. 99% of people. So the list, okay, of people who want this life, the list of people who want financial freedom is absolutely massive. But the list of people who are willing to go out there and do what needs to be done is very small. 5%. And once again, that's why 5% of the world are sharing 95% of the money. Because they're doing what needs to be done. But the other 95%, they're dreaming. They're sitting there hoping. They're sitting there thinking, emotionally, making excuses. The 5% think logically. They know what needs to be done, and they're going out there and they're making it happen. Become that beast, release that beast, because you have it in you. You just haven't let it out yet. Tonight's the night you let that beast out. Tonight's the night you go out there and you make it happen. And mark my words, will you see a massive improvement in your mental state? Mark my words, will you see a massive improvement in your business? So guys, I do want to touch base on, our Fast Start Promoter special that we have. We're in the final week of this also. So, an awesome bonus to really go out there and grow your team quicker. This is just some examples on 4 entrepreneur sets in one cycle. As a 2K promoter, you can make just under $2,000. Now, that's a lot of money right now for the annual events coming up. I know a lot of you are flying down for the annual event for Christmas. What would you do if it were an extra $2,000 this week? Do you need an extra $2,000? Well, it's right in front of you. The money's there. You just got to work a little bit for it, And as you can see, the higher ranks you hit, the more money you can unlock. So that's why it's so important to go out there and really grow that business, because network marketing companies financially reward you incredibly well. Your Health's compensation plan is an incredible compensation plan. But is everyone utilizing the compensation plan? No. There's a few of us that are making it happen and making very good money because we're doing that. But then there's a lot of people sitting back and hoping it's going to just happen. And it doesn't work that way. So go out there, guys, an extra $2,000 up for grabs just for going out there and actually growing your future, just for going out there and becoming that lion and doing what the lion does. Take action, take charge, and start dominating life, Guys, the Perf system is up and running right now, and it's really, really exciting. So as you can see, Monday night we had a leadership webinar with, the incredible Marko Pavasovic, which is me. Tomorrow night we have our Project Take Control info session, okay, at 2 Main Street, south of Perth. Guys, I highly recommend you make the most of this, okay? This is going to be an epic presentation. And then Wednesday night we have our Team Take Control expansion webinar, which is also great for everybody that cannot make it to Tuesday night. Anybody that cancels on your last minute, lock them into that Wednesday night expansion call, because it's so, so important. Then on the Sunday, we have our training and team catch up, which the location is to be announced. But guys, I do want to touch base on the Perth mega launch, okay? Now, a lot of people ask me, Marko, what did you do to grow your business so quickly? For me, it's very, very simple. I utilized events like this, because it's events like this that showed my friends that it wasn't me in my garage, that there was more people doing this. They met the team. They saw how incredible the team was. They saw how incredible the energy was. And they were excited by that. Whereas so many people, I see come into this business, and when it comes to launch, you're like, oh, I don't know. But that's also why your business isn't growing. Guys, like I said, success is very simple if you keep it simple, if you follow the patterns. I highly recommend that tomorrow night you bring as many people as you can there. because you're going to be one of two people. You're going to be the person that's going to be sitting there going, shit, I should have brought more people. I should have worked a little bit harder and had even more people here because this is freaking awesome. Or you're going to be that person going, man, thank God I worked so hard today. Thank God I really went out there and hustled and got out of my comfort zone because my team's loving this right now. I just got to get these guys started and we're going to absolutely have a team, and bang, you've just made your $2,000 bonus potentially. So definitely, if you want to be a big player right now, we're looking for the big players to step up. We're looking for more and more people to come up and really take control in Perth. And start it tomorrow night. Start it tonight. Decide to be that person. Release that tiger within and go out there and make it happen tomorrow night. Go out there, bring as many people as you can, and kickstart this business. Start thinking logically. Kickstart this business because you will be so surprised what big changes can happen from such little mindset changes. Also, just reminding you guys, a pre-annual beach party Friday the 30th of October. It's going to be awesome. You guys are all relatively new at the moment, so it's going to be great for you to really mingle with the rest of the teams all around Australia. We're going to have, beach sports, music, snacks. It's just going to be a good time, awesome weather. It's going to be a really, really exciting time. So I'm really excited to meet a lot of you there because I know a lot of you right now on this webinar I've even met before. So, you get to meet me. You're going to see a lot of the other top earners. You can blend with teams in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, and really get everyone together and really socialize and, pick other teams' brains. It's such a great time to really just have fun while doing business. And, right now, guys, I highly recommend that you also push for Emerald, and if you're close to it, if you're halfway through it, make this happen because it's not every day you have the chance to go for an exclusive 5-hour training with the founder of the company. So Dennis has been an incredible role model for me, and I'm really, really excited for anyone that does qualify for this. So I know we already have a handful of people in Perth that are qualified, but really go out there, guys, hustle. This is the last week to qualify. And what we've been able to do is drop it to 10,000 PVs a recommendation for you to qualify for this. So really go out there, make the plans, make the most of tomorrow night. If you make the most of tomorrow night, you could be halfway there after one night. So that's what's really, really exciting. And obviously our annual event, it's happening in, I think, just under 5 weeks right now. I'm really excited because, this time last year, Dan was actually a sole ranger. This time last year, Dan was actually thinking about quitting. And literally, I had to trick him into coming by offering him, a special getaway with some of the leaders. So that's what really made Dan come. But Dan came to the annual event. He saw the vision. He saw where this company is going. He saw where we're, taking this. And he went back to Perth. And in December and January, he had the fastest growing organization in Australia. And that's really how powerful these events can be if you make the most of it. So I know we've already got just under 50 people coming from Perth, so that's really, really exciting. But guys, can you imagine if in the next 4 weeks we get even more of those numbers and, we bring down a massive team from Project Take Control and you guys come, and if you guys can get a little bit more people there, you guys are going to have one of the biggest teams going into that event. And I can guarantee you with everything that we've got planned, it's going to set you guys up really, really nicely for the future. And that's it for me, guys. It's time to release that lion. This webinar was pointless unless you're going to apply it. Knowledge is nothing unless it's applied. So go out there, look at yourself in the mirror. Who are you? Who's that person you've always wanted to be? Who's that person that you are? And go out there and become that person. Become that beast. Become one of the 5%ers. Okay? I can promise you the journey isn't easy, but it's worth it. That's it for me, guys. Thank you all very much. Hope this has helped you quite a fair bit. Really, really excited to be seeing you all in the next few weeks. Go out there, smash this week, finish off 2K, finish off Emerald. Let's get Project Take Control on the map because I know with you guys, with the system, with Dan and Justine, man, you guys have massive potential to take this over, to absolutely be one of the biggest organizations that we have. So really excited to see who's going to step up, really excited to see the team start cranking and shifting those gears. And, I'm really excited to see you all coming up at the annual event. That's it, guys. Thank you all very much, and I'll talk to you all very soon.